Good morning, and I hope you can hear me. All right, looks like audio is good. April 1st, April Fool's Day, Tuesday, fourth month. We are officially into the first quarter of the new year, or ending the first quarter. This is Melzworld Live. I'm your host, Ramel Otis, and what a week it has been so far. I don't have a prank because, you know, it's expected. I'm just here to talk about what's happening, what's going on, what's part of my organization for today. Yeah, Monday was wild. A lot of things happened on Monday. It was really, really productive. It was a productive day. I have determined that the only way I can get any income right now at this point is a gig economy job, right? And that means Uber Eats or Amazon Flex or some kind of, job where I'm delivering something to somebody else. And you know, it's a reflection of how bad this market is. It's a rough market. It's hard for people to get jobs. And I think I'm going to give this a shot and I'm going to see what it looks like and we'll just kind of go from there. Fingers crossed that we find something. So that was the plan. But Monday I also had a lot of interesting calls. One of an old friend of mine from the late 90s. His name was Samuel Ingersoll Wang. Saying his name online shouldn't be a problem because he's got his own social media stuff going on. I knew him because in the late 90s I worked with what was called the San Diego Regional Teen Center. We had this library, we had this public library that had been serving Mira Mesa as a community for years. And they were going to build a new one. And so they reached out to the youth in San Diego and they said, we want to know if you guys are interested in converting this into a teen center. And the teens responded. I think I was a freshman at the time, or at least a sophomore. But yes, I was very enthusiastic. I joined that group. I was very interested in, seeing what this could become. So I participated in the building, like the planning, the grassroots campaigning, just the general participation in being a youth council. And we built this thing. It had a restaurant, it had an internet cafe, it had room for performances. I mean, it really had a great amount of things going on, and it was a really great grand gala opening. I mean, it was a concert. We had music. We had a gala dinner. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better opening. And then I graduated. So I mean, it had taken me 2 or 3 years, however long the project was as a teen. It had taken me that long to get it to the point where I was already graduating when it was made. And then I had to go on and live my life, right? I go to college, had to focus on a job, career, family, all these things. And I kind of watched the teen center change and morph over the years. The leadership changed hands. Other youth leaders, once again, grew up and left. And what I believe I saw was a loss of spirit, original intent, the passion that drove the build in the first place. I watched it go away, and I watched it slip and change, and I lost the interest. I saw the interest waning, and eventually it realized that it was making money on the on the venue portion, and then it converted itself into a full on concert hall, and it became the biggest place to play music in San Diego. It's a really good place for bands to play, but it was kind of a blight on the neighborhood because of just the ruckus, the loudness, all these things. And then eventually it just deteriorated to the point where there was nothing in there. And it was too expensive to do anything with it. Wasn't safe. The only organizations that could access it were churches. So it served as a church every once in a while for these weird new modern religions. And then it was nothing. And it cost at the time, it would have cost the city $3 to $4 million to refurbish it, because there was some plumbing issues and some pipes and wiring, and it was going to be too hard to get it off the ground, and there was no money in the city. And there still is. And then it was, boarded up. Windows broke, wood was placed. Fast forward to last year, or at least earlier this year, there was a group of people that have been working on, getting that funding for the epicenter. And this is all, things that are happening in the background, things that I'm not really privy to or part of, but the cost to build the rebuild the epicenter was up to $7 million. And somehow, whoever was working on this process, whoever was pushing this forward, got the county, which is way more wealthier than the city, to put up $10 to $15 million on the refurbishment and renovation of the teen center. And it fell in alignment with my current situation, which is I don't particularly work right now. And I thought this was the right time to reach out and say, hey, listen, I do have time now. I'm very much a rooted Mirror Mason. I would love to help somehow. And that's when I started talking with the manager of Parks and Rec for San Diego County, Brandon Schroeder. We got together. He liked my ideas. And now, we're at a point where we want to discuss, okay, we got a year before this thing is built. We need to create buzz. We need to create excitement. And so he put me on this, idea, like, who else do we need to bring for the coalition? A, that was the first thing. Who do we need to bring to this youth coalition? And B, do we have any records of historic photographs of the teen center or teen center activities? And so I've been trying to reach out to people that have been part of the program. And that leads me to Sam, right? He was the initial coordinator when this was all first starting in the 90s. And it was really fascinating catching up with him. He had lived a pretty wild life in the last 20 years. And I don't mean wild like harrowing in the sense that, things were dire and people were dying, all these no, he just, for a man that I knew 20 years ago, he has gone through a lot of life changes, having multiple kids, adoptions, going through his marriage and whatnot. But he had settled on something called eco-agriculture, right? Regenerative agriculture. I mean, these are very buzzy word terms, but really what he meant was he had found a large swath of land that was near the Mennonites, kind of like Amish adjacent, but this farmland was cultivated to the point where it was healing itself, right? That he was explaining to me that there's agriculture, right? You use pesticides and you cage your chickens, and you have a very you min-max your farm, but in doing so, you harm the environment. You potentially reduce the nutrition and the happiness of the animals, and you really are just growing for profit. And then there's something called organic farming, right? When this is where you start seeing foods that end up in the higher end grocery stores, non-GMO, organic, all of these kind of things. And his is the next level. It's called regenerative agriculture, and all it really means is that it's not just free range chickens. You know, it's not just non GMO, non pesticide. It's the next step up in responsibility and accountability for owning a farm. It's replicating, or it's adding elements to the farm that heal the land, that restore the land to what it was in a natural sense. So in a way, it's regenerative. You know, that you're not just growing animals and plants, and you're doing it in a way consciously and proactively that the land is better even after you harvest. And that's, I guess, his definition of regenerative agriculture. Actually, you know what? That's why we have chat. So let's see if we can talk to her. She might be able to help us out. Maybe. We'll see. Look at her little bleep, her little blink. Morning, Sky. How you doing? Sky, you there? Sweet. Well, that was nice. It's good visitation. We'll try that one more time. Let's see if I'm just crazy. Let's see if she just picks up. We'll try uno mas. Morning, Sky. How are you?
Hey, Ramel. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How's your morning so far?
Good. You're live on Melzworld Live. Say hi to our audience.
Hey, Melzworld Live. What's up, everyone? Hope you're all having an awesome day.
So I was talking about meeting up with a friend who is doing something called regenerative agriculture. Can you give us kind of a 10,000-foot view, understanding of what that means?
Sure. Regenerative agriculture is all about farming and grazing practices that aim to restore soil health, increase biodiversity, and improve the water cycle. It focuses on things like minimizing soil disturbance, using cover crops, integrating livestock, and avoiding synthetic chemicals. The goal is to create a sustainable and resilient ecosystem that benefits both the environment and the farmer.
Okay. So why don't you give an example that's a little bit more accessible? Let's say that there's farmer Musk, and Farmer Musk does normal practices of farming and agriculture that isn't regenerative, and then Farmer John, who is. So in a very simple way, compare the two.
Got it. So Farmer Musk might plow his fields heavily, use synthetic fertilizers, and grow the same crop every year. This can degrade the soil, reduce biodiversity, and require lots of water. Farmer John, though, uses regenerative methods. He rotates crops, plants cover crops to protect the soil, and uses natural compost instead of chemicals. This improves soil health, boosts biodiversity, and conserves water.
So if you were to compare like an organic farmer, right, non-GMO, non-pesticide, versus a regenerative farmer, the product is the same, right? The product that is being made, the milk, the vegetables, the food is the same. The only difference is the regenerative farmer has the consideration to heal the land that they're working from. Does that sound right?
Exactly. Both organic and regenerative farming avoid synthetic chemicals, but regenerative goes a step further. It focuses on actively improving the land, not just maintaining it. So while the end products might look the same, the regenerative farmer's methods benefit the whole ecosystem, improving soil, water, and biodiversity over time.
But the difference is the cost of the product, right? I mean, obviously the organic, free range is going to be expensive. Wouldn't the extra effort involved in making a regenerative farm increase the price of those goods even more?
It can, yes. The extra effort and time involved in regenerative practices might raise costs initially. However, regenerative farms can become more self-sustaining over time, potentially reducing some expenses. Plus, the long-term benefits, like healthier soil and better yields, can balance out costs. So while the price tag might be higher, some consumers value the environmental impact enough to pay the premium.
Okay. Well, this friend of mine, Sam, has a farm like this, and he realized that because of the kind of beautiful topography, the idyllic settings, and the just the open space over 100 acres, he could also turn it into an ecotourism place by putting kind of large glamping tents and all those kind of things. Do you think it's a good business model to not only have restorative agriculture, but to put ecotourism in there? Because wouldn't the ecotourism be an impact on making the land more natural again?
Combining regenerative agriculture with ecotourism can be a great business model. It provides an additional income stream and educates visitors about sustainable practices. The key is to manage the impact on the land carefully. By designing low impact accommodations and activities, Sam can maintain the farm's integrity while offering a unique experience. Plus, visitors often leave with a greater appreciation for sustainable living, which can spread awareness and support.
Okay, so that's exactly what he's doing, and he's seeing year over year a growth in interest with Airbnb and these giant tents that can fit a king size bed and air conditioning and all these kind of things. So yeah, it sounds like if he continues to do what he's doing, he could be like one of the top eco-tourist locations in the U.S. Because that's I would assume it's a burgeoning industry.
Yeah, ecotourism is definitely on the rise. People are increasingly interested in sustainable travel experiences. If Sam keeps offering that unique blend of comfort and sustainability, he's got a solid chance at becoming a top destination. Plus,
Oh, poor Sky. I don't know. Maybe she's just her internet's kind of funky right now. Anyways, that's cool, right? I think that's great. The idea that um, Sam is doing this, he's probably 10 years older than me at this point, and he's found something where he's using his entrepreneur spirit, and he's using all of his resources to create something. Anyways, we had a great talk. I talked about the teen center, but what was really interesting from that conversation was the fact that he might need some help. I mean, he's stretching himself thin. He's always stretched himself thin, and he looks like he needs more of an administrative support and more of a marketing support. And those are two things that I can do, right? Social media and administrative. So I would love to see if there are opportunities where I can help him while helping myself, right? Having the income I need, so I don't have to be an Amazon Flex worker. Or, oh, my voice cracked. Or I do both, right? I can serve to help him, and I can do the gig economy to supplement anything that I wouldn't make working for Sam. So that's a great opportunity. And then right when 10 o'clock hits the bell on our call yesterday, I get a call from Apple One, which is a staffing agency. They had seen one of my they had seen that I had applied for a role, and so I cut Sam off and said, sorry man, I'll catch up with you again later. And then I connected with Apple One, and we spent 50 minutes on an interview, and I thought that was really good. They had a role in mind, and they wanted my permission to submit on my behalf, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. So the good news is, all of these hundreds and hundreds of applications through the last, you know, God, it's been since May, right? Next month will be the year. Um, we've applied, and this is the first time a staffing agency has gotten back to me, so that might be good. So fingers crossed. So yeah, so there's that, and then there's Sam, and then this part is even more fascinating. Um, they've started the for the convention for the concert Naham. They've started a Kofi fundraising event, which if you're familiar with Kofi, it's let's see here. Let's go. So Kofi is like a GoFundMe basically, and they started this yesterday morning. I think I even shared it on the screen. So it was at like 2% yesterday. Check this out. It is at 64% of goal. It has not been out twice, like 2 days, and it's already at 64%. That's remarkable. That is so. Look at that. 3,378 donations, 74 uh 74 supporters. This is going to allow them to get a beautiful concert venue, right? Look at this thing. It's called the Fox Theater. Beautiful concert venue. Look at the space stage on this thing, man. It's, oh my god, there's, look at that. That is gorgeous. So this is where I'm going to get to perform. I'm going to perform at this gorgeous theater with all of my, all of my old friends that I used to perform with in 2016. And some people I haven't performed with before because they're new, or some that were kind of retired. So it's cool that we get to see and get to play there, and it's this fundraiser is going to make it absolutely free. So yeah, very excited about that. So amazed at the level of interest and excitement and the work being involved. Um, I mean, look at the people. There's so many people working on marketing. They're working on art. They're creating beautiful things. Let me see if I can find the poster. Look at that poster right here. See, Peekaboo's Mayhem 2025. There's Pinky. There's the kind of the leads, and then I'm right here under Pony Rap Gods. Right there. There's Mike. There's me, and there's Next Gen. So, very beautiful poster. Once again, this was all done yesterday. So the work, the passion, the excitement, the everything's happening, coming together. Just beautiful to see how all of these things are coming together. Super proud of it. So anyways, so that's Naham. It's going well. That's the job front. That's the epicenter front. Everything's coming together. So let's go through life updates really quick. It looks like the freezer still doesn't work. I followed up with the First American. I'll call them again today just to see if we can get something going on. We just need this. We just need this whole refrigerator replaced at this point. So let's see. Health is health. I really need to start practicing for the concert. And then nothing else with auto right now. I mean, there is one thing we can add into auto, right? The one thing we can add is, if I get a job, we potentially need a new car. So that's something to think about, right? Work. Yeah, I think it's time to consider gig economy, but there are those opportunities. And then projects. So yeah, so once again, these are all on hold, except for the rhyme flow thing because I got the concert. So I should probably put. Nope, it's not called BabsCon anymore. It's called Naham. Naham. So I got to get ready for that, which means I have to write new verse for hit flow, and I also have to memorize have to memorize hit flow. I have to rememorize on hold and apples of my eye. And yeah, that's it. So really, I'm really only responsible for 3 songs on this, which is fine. I'm okay with that. And I have to build cardio. So that's all going to be things that I need to do. Look for the 2025 bingo. The other thing that I think is good. Let's take a look at this right now. But right, publish, solve tax, props, 100 patrons, videos reached, this, that, and the other. Help Roman create his own OBS setup. That's what we did yesterday. So now Roman has an OBS setup. It takes about a gig per 20 minutes. So he has about 50 gigs on his PC. As long as he doesn't keep every single recording and he does 20 minutes, he should be okay. So we can actually mark this off as complete. you know, it's interesting. Clear the backyard. Lisa is making garden beds. So it helps as part of the process of clearing the backyards, and it's nice to know that she's doing that. All right, I think that's everything that I got right now. Okay, so yeah, I think that's it. Let me see if there's anybody bugging me in the chats. Absolutely not. So that's fine. Well, thanks for tuning in. Yesterday was a very eventful day. Today, I'm going out with my brother and sister. My kid and my wife are going to a Padres game in the evening. Hopefully, it doesn't rain or get too cold. And yeah, I will just start working on all of these random projects that I'm doing. So very excited. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys have a fantastic Tuesday. Tomorrow is improv night, so I'm very excited for that. I probably need to do a who's scenes from a hat because they seem to really like that. All right. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for going to Melzworld Live.